Yes, guys! Welcome back to another episode of the Bootcast podcast. As always, I am your host, Justin. I am with my usual co-host, Colby. Damn, it has been so long since I messed that up. I am with my usual co-host, Colby. Colby, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I got my USA kit in just to piss you off.
It's so bad.
Yeah. You got to be careful though, man. When you buy these white kits, because I didn't realize until I put it on, where it's like, well, yeah, a little bit.
Show the nip. Show the nip for the camera.
No, I don't know if you can see. I don't know if you can see.
No, you can't see.
Little,
a little bit.
Okay.
Little pepperoni right there.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. You got to be careful with white jerseys, bro.
You do.
I mean, this is.
I learned that with all my Real Madrid jerseys. Mm-hmm. And the pits get gross.
Pits are gross. You get a little sweaty. It starts to get a little yellow, So, but it's fresh and clean for this podcast. I literally just unwrapped this and threw it on.
Wow, you didn't even wash it? That's kind of gross.
I trust them. It was sealed.
No, that's cool, man. Let's see. We've got some news going on. I've had some exciting things come in the mail in the past couple of days. Oh, hold on. Entertain people. I grab stuff.
This is me.
Cool.
Entertaining.
I just looked up and I was like,
what's up, homies? Just a typical USA fan now, Show up to the games. What's up? I don't know none of the players, but go USA.
Oh. Okay. Said no one ever. Okay, I'm good now. All right, Colby. Let's get into this. We have some news. We've got some exciting things, some less than exciting things. But one thing I'm always excited about is to hear what your jersey pick of the episode is, Colby. So tell the people and myself what it is.
My jersey pick, Justin, for this episode is the 2019 Fulham 140-year anniversary kit. And it's legit, dude. It looks kind of like a Juve kit. It's like black on one side, white on the other. And I'll give you a second till you look it up. But it's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, dude.
Ooh.
I know. I feel like they should take a kit like this and use it as like a normal. You know what I mean? Like when it looks so good like this, just pull it out. Just wear it for like the next season or put it in the rotation.
I think it's weird that you picked a kit that's split half and half, and that's your kit pick. But anytime I say that about boots, you're like, "Oh, those are awful. Why would you want a boot that's split in half?"
Bro, because it's not like one half where it's like a color and the other half is some goofy ass like pinstripe thing. Like this is a solid black and a solid white, dude. It's just normal. And then like the sleeves counteract each other too. So it's like it makes sense. Like it all goes together very well.
Does it?
Like
it does.
The Ronaldo pinstripe boots are just like I can't stand those. No.
All right, my jersey pick is the 1991-92 Leeds kit. Yes, it's all white. It's got a this is back when Umbro was making like every jersey. It's got the Umbro jersey, the Evening Post sponsor.
Evening Post,
yes,
yeah.
And it's got like the weird half collar where it's like it wants to be like a traditional collar, but then it just like stops. So like they cut the fold over part. But I picked that kit specifically for A, our good friend Ollie. I feel like he needs some representation on this pod. But B, because that is the year that Eric Cantona won Leeds the league. And that's the last time that Leeds was ever noteworthy ever.
They kind of got a little bit more recognition before didn't they get re-relegated or something?
Yeah, they did.
Came up and they went back down. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they had,
under Bielsa.
They had like Rafinha, and then we got
had
there were Americans on there.
Yeah, that was American ball. So Tyler, not Tyler. Yeah, Tyler Adams.
No, what's Tyler Adams?
Weston McKennie.
Brendan Aronson.
Weston McKennie. Yep. Jesse Marsh.
Yeah. Jesse Marsh was there. He kept them up. Yeah. So they didn't win a title, but they were like relevant.
No, I think Jesse Marsh is when they got relegated.
I think he saved them, and then he got relegated with them, and now he's doing Canada.
Maybe, but he's like doing really well with Canada.
Yeah, like maybe we should have hired him. Actually, no, I'm cool. I'm cool with
Poch. He's
Poch.
But you know what? It's funny because you look at Poch and what he did with Chelsea, and then compare what's his name, Marco? Who's the coach for Chelsea right now?
Oh man,
Enzo Maresca.
Maresca,
yeah,
yes.
And he's like that's like night and day. I think Chelsea's in second right now, as of the recording.
Yeah. second, and Liverpool still has a game in hand. Whatever, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. I mean, y'all just got called off for like a hurricane or something. Which,
like
okay,
that.
this sounds so ignorant. I didn't know England got that bad of weather.
Well, you wouldn't know it because of like the freaking crazy crap that they play in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Like it's funny when like they'll be showing a game and it looks all normal, and they'll zoom in an angle. And it's like there's just rain pelting the player's face, and you're like, how can you even
it's got
kick
like
a ball in
that white look to it, where because the rain is so heavy.
It's wild, dude.
I would kill to play, not in the cold rain, but I would kill to play in the rain like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be so fun because we live in Texas. It's shitty and dry and terrible.
Yeah, terrible.
All right, Colby. Now that we got those great jerseys out of the way, good pick by the way. Let's get into our pickups this week. Black Friday has ended. Cyber Monday / the whole Cyber Week is over now. We're on our home stretch to Christmas. What pickups did you get?
Well, one I'm wearing,
Gross.
and then the other is these Vapor Pros, dude.
Yeah,
Turfs.
yeah, of course.
Wow. First off, retail price of these is $160, so I would never pull the trigger on them because I would think that Nike was, selling me a subpar product for a really high amount of money. But I got these for $64. I got them for like $80 with a $25 gift card that I had.
Cool.
And wow, bro, like wow, legitimately.
Wowzers.
Like the what is it called?
Flyknit.
The Flyknit, yeah, the Flyknit on here is incredible. Super, like some of the most comfy turfs I've ever put on out of the box. They've got like a reinforced toe box here. My toe is like perfect. It's perfect fit.
Wow.
They've got the Zoom Air on the bottom here. Like if you take the insole out, like you can kind of see like a little bubble. I don't really think it'll probably do that much, but it's still enough cushioning on the bottom. The lockdown is incredible. You got like some nice padding there. It's essentially like the Outdoor Pro model, but in a turf. And I think they're the same price even. But I'm just really reluctant to pay that much money for turf, so I would never, pay $160 full price for turfs unless like my Asics that got imported. I pay a premium for those, but yeah, these are really nice. I'm gonna wear them tomorrow. Very excited.
Yeah. If only somebody had told you to buy some turf by like Mercurials and Nikes like a couple months ago.
Okay, so here's the deal, dude. I've tried every Tiempo Turf Pro model from the 7 to the 10.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And the 7 was pretty good, and then like they slowly got worse, generation over generation. The 8 was the worst. And then the 10's okay, but what Nike started to do was they stopped reinforcing this lip here.
Mm-hmm.
And like you knew after like 4 games it was going to peel apart from the rubber bottom, so I stopped buying them.
Mm-hmm.
But I have high hopes for these.
Yeah.
And I'm a real nerd, and I watch a lot of the Asian market because they do a lot of turf. So I watch this guy named Golden Boots on YouTube who does turf reviews, and he's actually really funny with his reviews. I laugh. He does English versions now. So
yeah,
that's all I'll say about that.
I like everything that you just said, but I said if only somebody told you to try the Mercs, and then you went on a tangent about the Tiempos. So it's like
okay.
it's like crazy because that is not the point I made at all.
Whoa, okay. Going back to your point, I've tried Mercs in store for turf before.
Okay.
And they did not fit my foot at all. Way too tight on my foot.
Okay.
Way too narrow of a base even on the bottom. I think that was even with like the Vapor 13s, which are supposed to be accommodating. But I tried the that model in like 2019 at a store, and I was like, I can't wear these, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up getting like Premier 2s or something. But my point was just on the like Nike Pro models are not exactly pro anymore. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I noticed that Nike, I think a couple generations ago, they started taking like, let's say like the new model comes out, they take what was the high end and then just put that on their pro. So, like Flyknit was the high end for the 15, the 14, 13, 12. And we're like, oh, that's the best. And now they have GripKnit. So they're like, oh, Flyknit's the pro. And it's like, this is still really good.
Yeah, it's really, oh my gosh, dude. It's just like a perfect glove on your foot. Like I can't wait.
I wish they just made them in Superflies. I don't know what it is. I just like the collar on a Superfly.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I'm not like, dying for a collar, but
have you gotten to play in them even like just for fun, or you just wait until tomorrow?
I'm waiting till tomorrow. I'm
First
goofing
game.
around in the house with these,
Man.
so I'm so excited. Yeah. I had the I should have waited to return them, but I had the new Predator model Turf.
Yep.
Super heavy, like good upper material, a little bit shallow of a heel, super heavy. So I scrapped those.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It is crazy the difference between me and you and what is like heavy for you is not heavy for me. Because I have like the last gen and I like them, But to me, like the problem with turf models is they're always kind of samey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because it's rubber slapped on at the bottom, so it's always going to be like stupid.
Right. I mean, there was a huge shift in the. I don't want to get this like derailed on a turf podcast, but there was a huge shift I noticed, especially with Nike's turf bottoms from like 2019, 2020 into 2021, 22, where they were getting really light.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't know what they did.
Cool.
But they're much lighter now.
Cool.
And the Adidas F50 model is pretty light too, but the Copa and the Predator still kind of heavy. Like that light strike ain't light strike. Just saying.
Yeah, it's more about cushion than I think than like weight light.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Okay, cool. So for me, we talked about these last week, but I ended up getting this colorway of the F50 Plus, and it's just such an out there boot. I think that look how cool that looks.
That does look really cool.
But yeah, after I listened to Ben talk about this on the Football Boot Hour over on Boot Wizards, I just I had to pull the trigger, and it was a good deal for Black Friday. So I don't really know if I'll wear them, to be honest. But they just look super cool. This is very like Miles Morales.
Yeah.
So
yes, that is nice.
Yeah, I like this one. Nothing to write home about. Just cool looking. I just liked it. And then, so these actually came in first, but I got these. And
I love that colorway.
Dude, the champagne 20. Oh, so people can read it. The champagne 25 is nice, bro. Like, this is a very excellent boots. But I don't necessarily want to talk about this because there's like my reviews out or my first impressions and stuff, and like they're coming in. But our good friend, Proper Boots, sent us a message, and he was talking, and he was like, "Hey man, you'll never believe what I found at a store. If anybody wants a pair," and I was like, "I want a pair," and I got an unreleased pair of Pride 25s.
A red that's actually red,
dude. It is red. It's super weird. It's not like, okay, just so people can see like the one comparisons. This is like what I call blood red. So it's like a super deep red, and this is not quite the same. This is like a really high saturation. So like whenever you're messing around with like effects on a computer, so I always say like if you turn saturation all the way up on a red, you'll get this. So it looks super cool. I'm like really hyped about it. And then I thought the fade.
Oh, that is pretty
super
sweet,
cool
dude. Yeah, that's gorgeous. I still prefer the champagne only because I like white boots. But dude, tell me about the difference. Like, what's like the? I know you did a whole video on this, but like the upper, like, is it significantly softer? Like people are saying, is it a boot that, like, if somebody like myself who kind of had issues with like breaking them in and how much give there was, is it going to give people with wider feet more of a give in the toe box or in the midfoot?
Okay, so for starters, I'll say that it's not a new boot in the sense of like going from like the Predator Edge to the accuracy to the 24. Okay, so it's not night and day changes like that. I keep calling it a refinement. So first off, like things that are different, like there is a little bit of like this gritty grip texture on the outside and inside. So like this has some kind of coating on it, so that's different. You do feel it all the way through. Obviously. This is very pulse / absolutist compared to the Mania one, but the hybrid touch, if you can see, is just hybrid touch. So I'm pretty sure that they went back to using the old school one, so it's thinner and it is way softer, dude. Like I've only worn these once, but you could tell it's noticeably softer. And the way that people kind of keep asking me, and like the analogy I keep using is it's like you're going from driving a Toyota to driving a Lexus. Instead of having like a really, really, really good gourmet burger, you're having a steak. So it's just kind of like you're just getting like improving on what you already had. The sole plate's the same. Honestly, the fit is pretty much the exact same. I think that this upper will give you a little bit more, so you can kind of get some space out of it a little better. But even for your like big club foot, I think you'll be fine. I do like it. The only other thing that I noticed that changes, like on this, like there's no more number. They just put an Adidas logo.
Yeah.
But the heel lockdown's the same. The shape's a little different, but it feels the same. Like you can't tell. And yeah, that's really all I got. The insole is the same insole that you always get. It just has like a little pattern on it. This is the one. This is the one that comes in the red ones. So it looks cool.
Dude. Real quick, what's your opinion on slight improvements like that? Because I know that some people are kind of anti, like, change one or two things, re-release the boot as an entirely new thing. That's obviously something that, like, you know, brands like Adidas will do or Puma will do. When New Balance does it, it's at least like, hey, this is like the same model, but it's a plus version. Like, what's your kind of take on that?
It's hard. Like, I don't mind facelifts. I don't like when they get a whole new name. I don't know. I like when brands do it. Like, don't get me wrong, I do like when brands do it. But the problem I always have is like, and this is another. I'm gonna tie this into the next point I'm gonna make for you. But like with this, compared to, you know, the last ones, we'll be like, oh, Adidas, you know, oh, round of applause, love it, you know, blah blah blah. But then when like Puma does it, we're like, boo, boo, that's stupid. So it is hard. But the thing I want to ask you, because I was thinking about this earlier. Okay, Pred 24, Hybrid Touch 2.0, right? So it feels different than the Hybrid Touch like on the Messies. Okay,
right.
Okay. And then obviously the Copa Pure is its own thing. It's leather. Okay. When the 25 came out, everybody was saying, oh, I hope that they make the Hybrid Touch feel like the Messi boots. And if they do, it's a home run. Everybody's like, please give us that, right? So they want to have two lines with the same upper. Okay. So we're like, that's great. But then, how come on the reverse end, Nike comes out with the GX2 grip knit. Nike comes out with the new Mercurial grip knit. And everybody's like, this is stupid. Why are you using the same material? Like, come on, be innovative. Like, where do you think that we draw those lines for, I don't want to say rehashed, reused, but like, yeah, like using the same thing on multiple lines?
I think for Adidas, they get a little bit of a pass because the Messi's a specialty boot in itself, and it doesn't go along with the same like regular F50 sprint web, you know, texturing on like the more plasticky feel that everybody gets. So it's at least a little bit different in like Hybrid Touch 2.0. So they're already using a version of Hybrid Touch. It's just like, hey, make the softer version of that. So they get a little bit of a pass. With Nike, it's kind of like, hey, that's what you were already using for one model. You put it on another. It wasn't like a specialty version of the GX1, I guess. Maybe that's kind of a little bit of a difference there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Please go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, and the grip knit on the Vapor, to be fair, isn't nearly as grippy as it is on the GX2 Luna 2.
Yeah. Well, like, because I was thinking about this earlier. You know, we were talking about that, and I remember back in 2014, before Adidas killed off all their lines, they had the F50, the 11 Pro, the Nitro Charge. I don't know what that bubble is, and they had the Predator, right? Okay, cool. So F50 had Hybrid Touch. Nitro Charge had Hybrid Touch. Predator Instinct had Hybrid Touch. And then if you got the 11 Pro 2 at the time, and you got the synthetic model, Hybrid Touch. We never ever complained about that. Not once. Nobody ever complained about it. But again, with Nike, it's like when the Mercurial line was Flyknit. Then they did the GT line. It was Flyknit. Everybody hated it. It's too samey.
Just a wider Vapor. Yeah, I remember that. Samey.
Yeah. So then they're like, okay, here's grip knit. And then, you know, they put the grip knit on the Mercurial, which again, anybody who has used both knows that the grip knit does feel different. The boots feel different, everything. But everybody complains about it. So again, it's very odd to me that I feel like it's not that Adidas gets leeway. I don't even think Puma gets leeway. I think it's that people are overly critical on Nike boots.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. Hey, look, I'm in that category too of I don't know. I don't know why Nike comes off as like the big bad guy, but I do think that they put their their products at a premium price where I don't know if the quality matches what the price is, and that's my biggest problem with Nike. Like for instance, like for these turfs I just got, like maybe like 120. You know what I mean? I think you upcharged me like $40. Like I'll be real. That's why I had to buy it on a Black Friday. So
yeah. I get it. It's just it's weird because I think it's one of those things that with Nike, like we don't get past. Because even like talking to you right now, the Tequila and the Furon, basically same boot, same materials. Yeah. So it's like a lot of these brands we're like, oh yeah, like massive applause. But the moment Nike does it, we're like, hey, I'm on. And I think
stop taking my money.
Part of me wonders too is it's because if like Nike's like this whole like, oh, we innovate everything and everything's special and futuristic, and all the marketing jargon. If that's why we hold them like so high up, like like on a separate pedestal, we're like, okay, you want to be Billy Badass, show us that you're badass. And then when they don't, in a way that we approve of, we're like, boo, boo.
Yeah. Oh man. Nike.
So random tangent. Sorry, I thought about it. But yeah, this. If the 24 did not fit you or you didn't love the 24, give these a shot because these are, I would say, better.
I will definitely give them a shot.
And you will get the tongue, Colby.
I will get the tongue.
We are not doing no hoopla regular tongue.
Even Substance Football put out a video today. Yeah. Like we are all slowly being converted into like tongue pred people, because I felt the exact same way as Sub did, where I was like, that's so stupid. Like it's just it's like it was what I was saying on the last podcast where I was talking about how like all the tiempos prior to the 4, I was like, dude, that looks so old school. Get that crap off. And with the pred, it's like I want it now, and Subs has it now, and it's awesome.
And he even sent me a message, and he was like, yeah, dude, you're right. The secret sauce is the elastic. Telling you that this noise.
Beautiful.
Change my pants.
Yeah.
While we're on the subject of the Preds, how are your David Beckhams doing?
They're doing well, my friend. They're doing well. I abandoned it. Well, I was trying to band them in, like you said, and I'm trying to band the tongue down on one of them. We had, like you were talking about the dry Texas fields, but we actually did have like really bad rain.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, so we played pickup yesterday in like the freaking like awful muddy pitches, so I didn't want to wear them, so I wore my Tiempo 5s instead.
Very nice.
Which are like outside right now because they're so dirty.
Yeah.
So I want to give them a go, but I need the fields to dry up a little bit more.
That's the problem with white boots.
Let me grab something real quick.
See, guys, he always fights me on everything. Okay, I hope he leaves this in here, and so you can hear. He fights me on everything.
So
and I'm always right.
About heel slippage. You were talking about pickups.
Yeah. Oh!
Yeah, bro. These are so freaky. I'm going to open a package on the pod right now.
ASMR me right now.
Ooh.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, these are so good.
James just did that crazy giveaway with them.
I know. Yeah, I was going to feel so stupid. So I got 3 pairs of these.
Yeah.
On Black Friday.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I answered James's contest. I was like, I don't want to have 13. So I was kind of hoping I wouldn't win. I was like, give them to somebody else. I already have 3 pairs. These are so good, bro. They're so good. They really like they do a really good job of controlling heel slippage. It is weird. I'm used to having put it inside out. I'm used to having like the rubber grip elements on the inside as well. It doesn't take long to see. There's nothing on the inside there. But really, I just want to control my heel slippage, and these do a great job of that.
Cool.
So yeah, thank you for the recommendation, Boot Wizard.
Are they thick?
They're thick, kind of where you need it. Like it's like a really thin upper. Like
so there's breathability. Thick? Like is it a cushion sock?
It's kind of medium. Like it's not super thick. It's a pretty.
I'm out.
Like I'd say it's on the thinner side compared to what like the cheaper ones that I wear, like the goofy ones on Amazon. Like they're much thinner than that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I need to try those out. I want to try out the Wii Foot still, too. I've just got so many pairs of that brand that I will never say their name because they made me so mad. Oh, yeah, that looks nice. And
dude, look at that.
I want to try out Josh's new Pure Elites. Those look promising, too. And his socks are always thick, so I like it. Because I get blisters, like not from... It probably is from slippage, but my feet just sweat horribly. And so I always have blisters. So I like thick socks.
Yeah. So, yes, so I will be wearing those with the DB Preds when the fields dry up a little bit.
Okay, that's good. That's what I like to hear.
Justin, let's go ahead and get into our next topic here because, as you mentioned earlier, there was a game between Chelsea and Tottenham over the weekend, and there were two incidents where Cucarella in the new future, was it the Future 8 model?
Yep.
Slipped, causing two Tottenham goals. Gets so frustrated, like takes the boots off, throws them down, gets the old model out,
Yep.
and then after the game's over on Instagram, puts those boots in the trash and says like, "Sorry, Blues fans," or something like that.
Yeah.
I'll post it on here.
Yeah.
But, whew, pretty bad for Puma, would you say?
That is a horrible look. This is like the equivalent of when you remember when the Superfly 1 was supposed to come out and they were just like exploding on people's feet? This is like Puma's version of that. And the problem is too is once he switched boots, I think didn't he have an assist?
Yes, assist to, was it to Sancho? Was it Sancho's goal?
It might have been. Speaking of Sancho,
Yeah.
hey, that's
I
probably
know,
his best
hey.
game since he's come from Dortmund. But anyways, yeah, this is smelly. This is some smelly press, and I know he deleted the story. Like obviously, Puma was probably not happy about that.
Oh no.
But I mean, he blamed the kit man. This guy was throwing everybody under the bus. But yeah, for a boot that is supposed to be like on the horizon, like peak interest for some massive blunders like that is not a good look.
Yeah. Oh man, I know. Yeah. So PR wise, like that's not a good look. When J Mike's review came out, I when I first saw the way the boot looked, I was like, oh, this looks really good. When he was like explaining the technology and he was going over, what did he call it, like the Fusion Fit 3, where there's like knit on the inside, it's attached to like Lycra, so it's like it almost gives you. And James mentioned this on the football boot hour. It's almost like a quad fit type system where you're like kind of comfy on the inside, and then the outside, like mesh material prevents stretching. It's almost like the inside of quad fit prevented stretching, but
Yeah.
anyways, so I was really excited about that. And then he kind of went over what his annoying things were, and it's like, okay, they use the same last, so there's still a quarter length of the toe. The heel's still too shallow. The laces are still effed up. The studs are still too long. And I'm like, okay, if I'm creating a new boot and I come to you, Justin, I'm like, hey, Justin, like we're done with the Future 7. We're taking notes. We're going to make something new. Like objectively, like what were the things that people didn't like about the old boot? And you'd say, oh, the studs are a little too long at the toe box. Like let's taper that up. Let's fix the heel, right? Objectively, you would fix those things before you even dove into whatever the next technology would be. But Puma were like, no, screw that, dude. We're gonna put the cart before the horse, and we're gonna go for all this technology, and then we'll think about these things later. We're just gonna use the same last, whatever. So it's just mind blowing, dude. At this point, it's like you had a lot of time, and we've all kind of suggested things to kind of improve what the future could be. We've mentioned like Evo Power, Adapt Light, net fit systems, and instead, dude, they just created like a lesser version of quad fit and kept the same old janky Puma things for this new model.
Yeah, the best way I'm going to pull out an analogy, Colby. All right, it's analogy time. So with the Future line for a while, it's been kind of a disaster, right? I think anybody who's really tried them for a minute, I would say since the 1.4, it's kind of it's a boot that's all over the place that doesn't know what it want to be. With the Future 7, it was literally a turd, like a turd of a boot, right?
That's pretty bad.
So it's a turd. And so with this new model, instead of throwing out said turd, Puma just went and grabbed a can of gold spray paint and spray painted this turd gold. And they're like, here you go. This is what you wanted. And it's like, no, it was terrible. And you made it even worse now. Like, yeah. This is one of those, it's mind boggling. Like, it's mind boggling how bad Puma is striking out with the Future line when arguably the Ultra line kind of had a 180 and is like, as far as a speed boot goes, is very impressive. And a lot of people love it. I don't know how they are swinging so hard and missing so hard every single time with this fucking Future model.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, it's a cart before the horse situation. They're looking at all of these things that people aren't really complaining about. Okay, like for instance, like the power tape. Like I think the only reason they have to put that power tape on there as a seatbelt is because they're using the same crappy like expanded lacing system.
Yeah, and it only has
Mike
like
was talking
3
about.
lace holes.
They only cross I think like 3 times, and so like you're gonna get lace burn with that. Just to me, it's like just make a regular freaking like boot, like just like central lacing system, make it deep, and then worry about the other stuff later. And like for God's sake, like use a different last. Like just do these 4 things right, and then focus on whatever technology you want to put in, or put like minimal technology in, and focus on the technology in the next model. It's kind of like with Adidas, which we were just talking about, like the 24, like bat out of the park, great boot, everybody loves it, anatomical fit. Oh, hey, like let's tweak it just a little bit. Like let's make the hybrid touch softer. With Puma, it's like, hey, make a good fitting boot first, and objectively do all of these things right, and then you can kind of throw in all this like does it seem a bit random to you? Like I appreciate what they're going for with this technology, where it's like you want a really comfortable ride inside with like knit with like almost like expansive lycra material, and then I think they put like almost like sense pods on top of that.
Yeah.
So it's like the sense pods are underneath like what the mesh material is. And it's like, okay, that's pretty creative. Like you want to get like sensation out of your, like different touches and stuff. And you want to make sure that the boot doesn't overstretch. So it's like, all that's really, really cool. But like push that a little farther down the line to make this better. And I almost hope that this doesn't turn into like a, when the Puma King, like, kind of almost had it with their synthetic, their was it called K Better upper, and it was like, hey, this is great, I really just want like better heel lockdown and maybe a wider last. And Puma was like, okay, so you want this like new chunkier King that like doesn't really fit your foot, and like no, that's not what we asked for. Like I just want you to fix this one thing. I just, like you said, it's like they keep striking out, and I think it's because they're not directly listening to what people are actually wanting.
Yeah. Well, it's the way I look at it kind of too is like they've bought all the furniture for a house. They have the couch, they have the TV, they have dressers, everything. Cool. There's no fucking house. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, what are you going to do with all this shit? Like, that's where I'm at. It's just like, oh my God. Like, we've only seen the one video, so it's one person's opinion. So I try to be like, okay, maybe it's just certain boots don't work out. You know what I mean? Like J Mike may feel a certain way about a boot that I don't feel that way because his foot's different than mine, and that's totally fair. And there's times where some of our friends love certain boots. I don't. Noah may like a certain boot. Me and you may be like, well, I don't know how he likes that boot, and then vice versa. We may love a boot and he doesn't love it. Okay, cool. That's totally fair. But it's like, nobody on this God-given earth is like, man, I love the Puma Future, and I can't wait to go get another one. You know what I mean? Like we talked about this last week. Look at how discounted the Puma Future was.
It was crazy.
They couldn't give them away. And this next one is not going to change anybody's mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, like, I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I'm getting to the point where I am like how Noah is. It's like, kill the line. Like, this isn't working. We have to start over. Like, I would never advocate for somebody to lose their job, okay? Never. But, like, whoever's on the Puma Future team, they need to go work on something else because it ain't working.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I'm telling you, I'm at a loss for words. And yes, it is one reviewer's opinion, but it almost makes me worried if I were to try the boot, because it's like the same last, but it's almost a more narrow boot because of that mesh. And so it's like, dude, there's no way my foot could, like, at least with the last Future, it was wide. Like, if there's one thing I'll say about it, or the Future 7 2 generations ago, like, it was wide. It was a nice, the studs were too long, too aggressive, but it wasn't too bad for my foot. Now it's like you're taking like the one saving grace from me away. So I really don't want to try it now.
It's just too much of like it wants to be a Swiss Army knife of a boot. Cool. But like every side of it is rusty and bent and broken. So it's like, how useful is this? So I don't want to get like too hard on Puma. It's just like we know that this boot is going to be here for a year. We're going to get about 90 colorways, and none of them are going to sell. So, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I was a little bit hopeful that in that same video that J Mike had, he did say that there was going to be an AG version, which is sort of a step up because like for the longest time they've been promoting FGAG.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay. Or it's like it's been like FGAG and then like these really aggressive studs, and it's like if you want these like MG boots, it's like, well, like what is that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Their MG is basically everybody else's AG.
Yeah, it's weird. But then it's like, but you promote AG. Yeah, like you said, it's like everybody said at this point, just kill the line. Just kill the line, restart.
Yep.
Go do like Adidas do, go back to your old like adapt light, like just do something different.
Yeah.
Justin, last week we were pretty harsh on the Copa Pure 3.
Deservedly so.
But it was mostly the aesthetics of kind of how the boot was presented and the lines. And since then, like you've sent me more updated photos. I might have been a bit too harsh, okay? I still am not a big fan of the lines, but after seeing the heel, the sole plate, everything else, I'm actually kind of excited for these boots.
That's good. That makes one of us. I spoke to somebody who has the Copa Pure 3, okay? So I can only go by the small amount that he has told me. But basically he said, I promise you that this is gonna rotate heads. Like, you will love it. And he was like, the best boot I can compare this to is the Legend 9. Which is great to hear. You know? We love a Legend 9, especially the MI. I still probably won't get that funky launch special edition colorway. I don't like it. But after hearing him say that the one that goes with this pack that we saw, the red, white, and black one, I'm excited for that one. And that might be the one I try.
Yes, because of that. And I did check the heel. Okay, so the thing about Nike, especially with like any line, Nike has, as much crap as we give them sometimes, they have perfected the art of lockdown and minimizing heel slippage. And like something about like all the past Tiempos, like the 9, is when, like, especially the ones that are, I think they're all one-piece uppers. I think all Tiempos have been one-piece uppers since, like, the 6. But when you slide your foot in there, dude, it is, like, sealed in tight.
That's a good one.
And I was looking at these Copa Pure 3 photos, and, like, the heel actually does look a lot like the Legend 9 heel, where it's, like, it's raised, but it almost looks just like this, where it's like it's raised, it's got like the one-piece upper. So I'm hoping that when you slide your foot in there, it is locked in there, because they've really struggled the past, even the Copa Pure 1, like, which was a really fantastic boot. There was heel slippage. They beefed up the Copa Pure 2.1 version, or the Elite model, or whatever they wanted to call it when they changed the name. But they beefed up that heel, and it still had heel slippage. That's why I had to part with that boot. They made the KT the knit upper, and they said, oh, we should get the KT version if you like lockdown. But that one wasn't necessarily like that much better in my opinion, because you got a much better like comfortable fit from the U-throat. So I think this boot, unlike Puma, where they've listened to what everybody wants, I think it's going to be a much, much better boot objectively. And you saw the sole plate, right?
I did. Yeah. I think it's an updated torsion frame.
Yeah, it looks kind of like it's got like more conicals on this version. I think, like, from what I saw in like little images, it's going to be called the comfort frame, which I like. Okay. It's going to fit into like the Adidas categories of like comfort frame, speed frame, sprint frame, whatever.
Yep.
So, but yeah, dude, I'm excited for this. Like, I will, for the sake of the podcast, I'm going to get that launch version.
You gotta love it.
Yep. I can't say that I will spend the money to get it expedited, the couple days shipping. That I know I'm gonna get it. So it might be like a week after it launches, but we'll have one on the pod and I'll talk about it. But interestingly enough, prior to seeing like these images, we have seen the Icon 2.
Yes.
Which looks really good.
Looks
like,
fantastic.
Like, it looks, ironically, like it could be like the U-throat version of like the Copa Pure 3, which is kind of nice. But
which is what I'm wondering if they may do, because the problem is, obviously the Icon 2 has launched in Japan. They've already made ads for it. Like, we've seen it. Sam Handy was showing it off. And it does look like a good boot. But I'm wondering now with the Copa line, if the Copa Pure 2 Plus or Copa Pure 2 KT is going to be the Copa Pure, and then I think that the Copa 2 Elite, the regular youth throat, will be the Copa Icon 2. So that way it kind of doesn't cannibalize itself too hard. Because the problem is if you look at the Icon 2 and then you look at inevitably the Copa Pure 3, you're kind of like, ooh, that's kind of cannibalizing. Like,
right,
they're both leather uppers, this and that. So I'm hoping that's kind of what they do. And I think if they do that, they would have more of a home run.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Like in the thing with the Icon too is how like whenever, and I don't want to like hate on the Gloro, but whenever you kind of have these like other more like mid-tier lines, the quality drop does seem pretty apparent. With these, it's like it looks like a very high quality boot.
Yeah. That's the thing, like even the first gen Icon that I have, it's like obviously it does like it loses out on certain things and features, and it's not a perfect boot by any means. But for what you pay, because I think at full price it was $180, it's still cheaper, and it was still a very like quality, like it used a lot of high end materials, so like you could pass it off as a high end boot.
Right? Yeah, especially if you're like not a boot head like us, and there's like a, I guess, ceiling price that you're willing to pay. Like if you saw that on a store shelf, you'd be like, yeah, that's probably like, like high end version of Adidas, like for leather. Yeah, that's the top boot. Like you wouldn't know any different.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is maybe exactly who Adidas is going for.
Yeah,
probably.
So I think it's smart. It looks cool. Both those Icon colorways I've seen so far. Shout out to Mr. M. Burns because he sent me them first. But like Chef Kiss, like those look fantastic. All right, Colby. So we're kind of starting to wind down. I think I've talked about everything. You have been coming to the podcast for the past couple of weeks with a question of the week. So what is your question of the week this week?
My pod question of the week is: have you ever tried to convince yourself a boot was good and later realized it was a bad choice the whole time? You ever tried to like wear a boot, say, "Hey, man, this is no, like it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. Like this is a great boot. There's some good qualities about it." And then later you're like, "I hated that boot. Like it killed my foot. I sucked."
I will say that the Adidas X15 line, that's one of those for me where I want to like them, but they're just not very good, and they're always uncomfortable, like no matter what. This boot, excuse me. I want to like
LZ.
this one. The LZ remake. This is doo-doo. Those might be the main ones. There's everything else I like that I buy. What about you?
Yeah, you do. Dude, when I got these in, it reminded me of the summertime when I had tried the Vapor 16s and I tried the F50s, and I had to sort of make a choice based off of money, and there was so much hype around the F50.
Yes, you chose wrong.
And I'm getting there. And I was like, you know what? Like the Merc, it's fine. It's a good boot. Like it fit me much better than the GX2. And I was like, I don't know if I really want I want the F50. I like the sole plate. Like, yeah, it runs a little long, and yeah, it's a little uncomfortable, and yeah, it's like digging into my heels, and yeah, I gotta be hot water trick it to make it feel better, and yeah, I gotta do this, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do this. And eventually it was just like, God damn it, like this was never meant for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that Merc fit perfectly and was really nice, and it fit better than GX2, and I got in the AG version, and I think I was talking to you, and you're like, dude, just keep the Merc. And I was like, nah, bro, I can only afford one. I'm gonna keep the F50. And yeah, dude, putting this back on, it was one of those like, man, if I could go back to the summer and choose I mean, that's not like, of all the problems in the world, not the biggest, but yeah,
it's crazy because even I was like, yeah, you should go with the Merc, and then you didn't listen again. You never listen. God,
that's the theme of this podcast.
I never listen to you. You know what you remind me of? Okay, you know how like sometimes with like parents, it's like, hey, don't touch the stove, it's hot, and like a kid's got to put his hand on the stove to learn it's hot, right? You're the kid who like, I'm like, hey, don't touch the stove, and you put your hand on the stove, and you're like, ow, that burns, and then you do it again, you're like, oh shit, that really burns, and then you go next door to your friend's house, and you're like, hey, can you turn your stove on? I need to put my hand on it, and you do it again. Like that's you. Like, when it comes to boots, I I'm literally screaming at a deaf man who literally cannot hear anything I'm saying. And that's
I'm
just
a sucker for pain, man.
Dude,
I'm
you
just a sucker for pain.
And for somebody who's like, hey, like, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to get this boot because it's on sale and this boot and that boot. I'm like, Colby, you spend more money. Just get the one boot that I tell you.
I think I like to spin a narrative in my head of like, oh no, like the vapor, like that's expensive, like that's I'm gonna get these, and like there's a lot of hype behind it, and I've been playing pretty well, and like my heels hurt. It's just like it's like I'm convincing myself that I made a good choice when I did make a good choice.
Exactly. You're like rationalizing why you joined a cult.
Exactly.
That's where you're at, and I just accept it, and I'm like, okay, Colby, you know.
Yeah.
I bless your heart, you sweet, beautiful man. Bless your heart.
Did you see, I think you did, Noah's F50 video where he said that was like the hardest boot of the year to break in, was like the regular F50.
I did.
Yeah, I felt him on that. I was like, yes. Like I don't even think I ever really fully broke it in. I think I got to a point where they were wearable, but like after even like an hour, I had to tape my heels most of the time in those boots.
See, I always wondered too, if this is fantasy world, but if we could get, let's say, boots fitted to our feet like pros do, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we actually would end up liking or would want to wear / we would wear.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I was telling you about this was before we all got the champagne in hand. Arsenal did an Instagram like pictures where you got to see Timber's Pred heel.
Yeah,
you got to see like what his, and it was like super padded up in there. And I was like, that's what I would get. I would get like,
it's kind of like the turfish one. Oh, geez. But it was like way more. It was even thicker than this. But it had
was
like
real
a
thick.
lot of cushion. But this is way more padded compared to the FG.
Yeah, the FG models, it's like very minimal, and like I think that's where I would start. What I would start with, customization wise.
Yeah. But yeah, I always wondered like would I wear, like, if I could get any boot perfectly fitted to me and I can wear anything, would I wear the Pred? And I'm like, I don't know, probably. I just like a Pred.
That's a good question, man.
Yeah. Well, I've got two questions for you. Okay, so let's say you can wear any boot at any time. It'll be current for you. You can wear it, get all the materials, whatever colorway, and it's custom fitted for you. What would you want to wear?
Any boot.
Any boot.
Any timeline.
Any time. Yeah. So if you're like, oh, I want Legend 1s.
Yeah. See, I would say Legend 5s, but those already fit great. Like they really fit fantastic. Golly, dude. Maybe some Legend 7s, just like with a bit of a. Well, can I make a wider toe box? Is that a
it's perfectly fit to how you want it.
Legend 7 wider toe box, maybe even like Legend 9 wider toe box. I don't know.
Oh, very nice, very nice choice. Okay, I like that. That's a good choice. I would wear. Ooh, see, I want to say Predmania, something like that. But part of me, I think I might go like T90 Laser 4. I just love the Laser 4, bro. Such a great boot.
What customization would you make on it though?
I would probably have a different liner in the because this was when Nike was going through like they were using like a synthetic but had like a tire tread that was supposed to be the grip. So I would change the insole, and then it's probably really it. I like the Kangalite. I like the leather. Yeah, I don't think I'd change too much on it. Oh, I would change the sole plate. I would change the sole plate. I wouldn't use the Legend 4 one because it's kind of teardrop shaped studs. I think I would end up using like the crazy Legend 3 one.
Oh yeah,
the Legend 3 one.
Yeah,
had
not
like,
these, but
looks like a division symbol. It's like a line with like 2 dots on each side. Yeah, I'd go with that freak of a nature boot. Yeah, I think that's what I'd rock. Something like that.
Nice.
Man.
I
love a Laser.
I like
4.
that. Go ahead.
Okay.
Man.
Before we sign off, Colby, I have to ask you: do you believe in ghosts?
No.
Okay then. Well, Colby, tell me the people where they can find you.
You guys can find me at Kicking with Colbs on Instagram and on YouTube.
And as always, you can find me at Texas Cleat Collector on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And you can find us at Bootcast Pod. If you guys have any topics that you want us to talk about, let us know in the comments below. Or while you're down there, hit smash, hit subscribe, hit like, turn on the notification bell, do all the fancy jumping through hoops. And let us know, what boot would you want if you could have it customized perfectly to you? And what customizations would you have? And with that, we will see you next week. Take care.
Bye, guys.